Good evening, everybody. It is 7:37, Monday, June 6, 2022. This meeting of the South Orange Maplewood Board of Education is being live streamed as well as recorded for storage and viewing on our district website. The public can participate during the hearings of individuals and delegates by signing up at the front door where there's a sheet. Also signing up for audio public speaks using the WebEx form, via WebEx using a form available on our website. Adequate written notice of this meeting of the South Orange Maplewood Board of Education has been provided to both townships and village clerks, the Star Ledger, the News Record, tapintosoba.net, and the Village Green. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Burnside, please note that all board members indicated they would be able to attend the meeting this evening. And with that, can you please call the roll?
Board Member Susan Bergen.
Here.
Board President Thayer Joshua.
Here.
Board Member Alyssa Malaspina.
Here.
Student Representative Noah Morose. Board Member Aaron Siders.
Here.
Board Member Cowie Tellisford.
Here.
Board Member Arun Vadlamani.
Here.
Board Member Caitlin Whitletter.
Here.
Board Member Courtney Wingfield.
Here.
Board Member Johanna Wright.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we move forward, I'd like to make a motion to hold this meeting in a hybrid manner. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Board Member Siders. All in favor? That appears to be unanimous, Mr. Burnside. And now I will turn it over to Dr. Taylor for some welcoming remarks.
Thank you to our board president, and welcome to all those who've come to celebrate our retirees. However, before we do so, I want to just make sure that we take a moment to remember that 1 year ago, Columbia High School and our community suffered an unimaginable tragedy with the passing of one of our beloved students, Musa Fofana. I want to just take a moment for us to just take a moment of silence out of respect and reflection for Musa's family and wishing him the best in his journey. Thank you. During this time of year, we're always bringing together honorees for transition, whether it's to the next grade level, the next school, and in this case for our retirees, their next journey in life. You're still graduating. This is a graduation for you. And it's always thrilling for us to be able to honor you and to be able to have your soon-to-be former leaders say a few words about you. The order of our program this evening will go as follows. I will introduce our school leader who will introduce and give a few words about our honoree. The honoree will come up and be allowed, if they so choose, to share some words in reflection on their journey here in our school district. The board president and I will then come forward with a small presentation to each honoree and take a picture. And then the honoree, if you would like to have your family members come forward or loved ones for a picture, you will have the chance to do that as well. And then we'll go to the next honoree. You can tell I'm a former teacher, right? We gotta have order in how we're doing this stuff. We're just super excited to have you here. And this time last year, we were still doing this virtually, right? So we're super excited to be together. And I'm gonna first call our leader, Principal Grinnell, to come forward to introduce the retiree who she will give us a few comments about. That microphone right there should be working.
Board President said I could turn around so I
Awesome.
could face
Please
her.
do.
Is that okay? I'm sorry, my back is to
Welcome,
you
welcome,
all.
Principal Grinnell, please.
So I am so honored to have a moment to speak about Miss Brown. Miss Brown is here with us. And it's only fitting that so many came from the guidance suite, who really was her extended family here at Maplewood Middle School. Miss Brown started at MMS when I did. Before that, she was at the dean's office in Columbia High School. And her time in the dean's office absolutely served her well, as did the fact that she is a first lady. And she really brought that love that a first lady has to that guidance suite, always taking care of people. When kids come in the guidance office, sometimes it's for nothing, but sometimes it's because they're going through something. And Miss Brown has just a heart of gold. When she retired, they asked about her. Miss Brown retired in the middle of the year this year. And what I'm so grateful for is that she extended that care both to our middle schoolers, but also to the adults around her. The counselors are here. We have Miss Battle, and we have Miss Bunch, who worked in our main office. Even our teacher is here, Miss Varney. And what I'm so grateful for, and I know that MMS has been enriched by your time, is that that legacy continues. When you see how the guidance office is received, Miss Bunch is continuing that love that she already had, but that she knows to keep going in your retirement. So I wish you so well. We are so looking forward to hearing about all that you're doing in retirement. We're hearing a little bit about it already. Thank you for the wonderful way in which you took care of so many of us. You deserve nothing but the best in retirement. We love you and we will miss you, and we think you're the best. Congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you, Dara. Oh, wait, let me take that off.
I dressed for Miss Brown today.
Thank you, Dara, and thank you to our superintendent, to the board president, to all the board members, to Dara, and to all those that came out with me, my former coworkers, my beloved husband, Edwin Mario Brown, my dear sister, Josephine Bramman, and my beautiful favorite daughter, Lisa Imani Brown. I'd just like to thank the district for my 14 plus years here at the South Orange Maplewood School District. And I was going to call some names. I wrote some stuff down, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to share a short story about when I started in this district in August of 2007, and my mother passed in November of 2007. And this district poured their love out on me. I was only in this district 2 months. They sent food to my house. They sent money in a card. They said, whatever amount of time you need, you can have it. And Dr. Lovey Lilly was the principal at Columbia High School at that time. And I just felt so special and so honored. And I knew God had placed me in the right place. So I thank God for the times that I shared in this district. I thank him for every person that I met, and some are still my friends to this day. And I thank God for all the children that touched my life, and I pray I touch theirs. And Dr. Taylor, I thank you for honoring Musa Fafana, because he was one of the beautiful students who always came into that counseling office with such manners, never disrespectful in any way, shape, or form. So I honor his memory today. I honor the memory of Hope Taylor, who was one of the deans I worked with, and the memory of Joanne Hawks. Both have passed, and she was the first secretary who was my mentor at Columbia High School. Thank you all.
Don't run away, come back up here. Don't run away from us now. Right. Yes. You want?
Yeah, it's kind of long, man. I'll record it. Yep, hi, thank you. Which way am I looking? All right, I'm not. You think I'm used to being on camera. All right, so let me read, I'll just read the letter, and this will go for everyone this evening. Dear Ms. Brown, the members of the Board of Education congratulate you upon the occasion of your retirement from the school district. We extend our best wishes to you as you start the next chapter of your life. We value your dedicated service to the South Orange Maplewood School District and your commitment to our children and our community, especially during this pandemic that has changed lives forever. The role our public schools play in preparing students for the personal, academic, social, and civic challenges of adulthood is of vital importance. The personal commitment you made to your students and colleagues had an immediate and long-term positive impact on our students. We greatly appreciate these contributions and the opportunity to recognize them this evening. As you no doubt realize, the return on your investment will be told in the lives of the many who have grown under your guidance and instruction. Please accept our congratulations, sincere gratitude, and best wishes.
That's for you.
That's
for
yours.
you right there. Yeah. You're welcome. Come on, family. Come on up.
Yep. See, this is the new trick. It has the gray. All right, let's go around this way. I'm going to leave this here.
Thank you so much. As Ms. Brown and her team take their seats, I will make a note that we have 16 retirees this year, and they have a total number of years of service to our district. This number can't be right, Ms. Durant. Is this number right? 330 years of service to our district. So thank you. Thank you so much. We will now shift to our transportation supervisor, Ms. Talmadge, who is attending virtually to introduce our next honoree.
Hello, everybody. I have the privilege of introducing our next honoree. She has been with our district for 32 years, Miss Nettie Davis. I believe she's virtual. I don't see her on my screen. Miss Nettie was one of the first drivers that I met here. She was in my interview. And I was just completely amazed with her that she has given so much to our district. When I was asked to say a few words, I started to look through things and realized that a while back, there was actually a newspaper article about Miss Nettie Davis. She had been with the district at that time for about 23 years. And the title of it was, I want to get this straight, Bus Driver Returns to District for 23 Years, Loves to Drive. The article goes on, it talks about Miss Nettie, her jobs, her family, but most of all, talked about her love for driving the children. She had explained in the article that she's been driving for our district for so long at that time that she had driven her kids, and I want to quote her. It says, "I've been driving in this district for so long. I've driven kids and then driven their kids. And then she went on to say if she sticks around long enough, she may end up driving their grandchildren. Well, I think Ms. Nettie did accomplish that goal. When the article was written, Ms. Nettie was the senior driver here for South Orange Maplewood School District, and she still is today. When she was asked about her future at the time, Ms. Nettie said she would like to drive for the district, maybe 1 or 2 more years at that point, and then she thinks that she was going to retire. We were just blessed enough that that did not happen, that she went on to drive with us for another 9 years. She made a difference, you know, in everything she did. She cared about the children. She loved the children she drove. And I just want to thank her. We want to thank her for 32 years of dedication to our district. And we all wish her nothing but the best in retirement.
Thank you, Ms. Talmadge. Ms. Davis, is that you who called in on the line there on our screen? Keith, are you able to communicate? Yes. One more time? Yes, okay. Ms. Davis, if you're with us, please feel free to give your thoughts to the school district. We're all listening.
It's not Miss Davis.
I think we can hear you. Is that one more time? Got it. Go ahead, please.
It's not Miss Davis.
All right, we'll be sure to get Ms. Davis her honors, and thank you, Ms. Talmadge, for those thoughtful words. Our next leader who's coming to introduce someone. I think we saw Mr. Louis out there. Is Pierre with us? No, he's gone. Okay, he left. Okay, thank you. Principal Majid of the Tuscan School, she would tell me. The Tuscan School, please.
And congratulations to all our retirees. It is my honor to speak on behalf of Mrs. Sue Donatelli. And to honor Sue's request and Monique's request to stay brief, I have notes. Within moments of entering Sue Donatelli's classroom, you will immediately see and hear a poised, calm, confident, and caring teacher who truly enjoys engaging and learning with students. Mrs. Donatelli's warm voice radiates with kindness and high regard for her students. As a result, students communicate with Mrs. Donatelli and her peers in a mutually respectful and collaborative manner. Sue Donatelli has a remarkable ability to provide children with the importance of persistence and perseverance as important tools for learning. And in Mrs. Donatelli's classroom, students' voice and choice are welcomed, valued, and students are inspired to learn. Over the past 2.5 years, specifically, the professional learning curve for teachers has been exponential. And fortunately, Mrs. Donatelli is a lifelong learner, and during the immense challenging times, Sue has impressively continued to develop a broad range of strategies, skills, techniques, and ways of teaching, remote teaching, hybrid teaching, in-person teaching, school-age children during a pandemic. Sue, your accomplishments are absolutely amazing, and you faced each new challenge gracefully, and you endured, and you succeeded. You delivered instruction, supported students and families in learning, and managed all aspects of educating elementary school-age children in most challenging times. I am so proud of your accomplishments. You are a dynamic and outstanding teacher, and it's bittersweet. I'm celebrating you, but it's been over 20 years that we've worked together at Tuscan. Our children went to school together. We've been through a lot. You've had an amazing positive impact, and you have touched the minds and hearts of so many Tuscan children. And you have proven that you can do virtually anything. So I know that some of your retirement plans include your daughter's wedding coming up, your son's wedding next year, and spending time with your beautiful granddaughter, Nora. And I know you and Randy will enjoy all the years ahead, watching your family grow and in spending time together. Know that we will deeply miss you at Tuscan, and we wish you all the best for a happy, healthy, and wonderful retirement. Congratulations, Sue Donatelli.
Okay, I didn't know I was going to have to speak, so I'm glad that we were told to make it brief. Thank you all for the recognition. My years at Tuscan have been wonderful. All three of my kids went to Tuscan, so I've actually been there since 1995. And I got to stay. My kids left, but I got to stay. And it's been a great journey, and thank you all very much.
We will now have the principal of the illustrious Columbia High School, Mr. Frank Sanchez.
Thank you very much. I have the pleasure to speak on John Fisher. First, though, Mr. Fisher, I have a letter, an email from Mr. Mano, your supervisor for the past several years, who says that he wished he could be here tonight to toast to your retirement, but family duties called, so I'm there in spirit. I want to extend my sincere gratitude for your 17 years of service to Columbia High School and to the South Orange Maplewood School District. You've been a consummate pro and true teaching artist. You have always been generous in giving time and needed mentorship to all students, and you've been a great communicator to families and an enthusiastic collaborator with your art education colleagues. I wish you well on your new adventures. And John, I would like to just say a couple words. 17 years, so I think that means I'm probably your 8th principal. And so I'm sure I speak for all of them who want to say, first, you're a great teacher. You're serious about the craft and wanting to help students. Those students who are artists already who come to your class, but those students who also need graduation credit. And you give them all the same time and love. Secondly, you're a passionate artist who celebrates the work of his peers through your work in the gallery. And I'm new to the district somewhat, and this year, I was blown away in September when we had a gallery for the first month of teacher work, and when artist work. It was incredible, and John's photos were superb. And maybe if your colleagues aren't watching, I'll say they were the best. I don't know what else to say, John. That you love photography. You're almost giddy, and I don't mean that in a. I know it sounds immature, but you have this sparkle when you talk about photos, when you talk about art, when you talk about what you do. You pull me from the hall to show me a camera obscura that you set up in the back of your classroom. You work with our dance students to create the most beautiful pieces. In fact, the first photo I've ever seen of yours was of the special dance company on top of the roof of Columbia High School. And let me just say, yes, Mrs. Butler, I questioned your idea of that, and then I heard it was photoshopped. And I was blown away even more so. Litigation-wise, yes. Yes. But thirdly, I just want to honor you. You're a great person. So many of your faculty members think of you as a friend, a great family man, husband and father with deep connections to our community as a former resident. And Stephanie, I just want you to know, I might be at your house in Asbury Park over the summer, so be careful. John, Columbia High School is lucky to have you, and we thank you for your time and service.
Thank you very much for this moment of honor, board president and board members and anyone else who's in the room. I'm not used to this kind of public speaking. I don't consider my classroom the same type of thing, so forgive me if I'm a little awkward, but I prepared a few words. I'm still amazed that I can even look at myself and call myself a teacher. I'm one of those people who ended up teaching after another career as a photographer, commercial photographer. And it was just a wonderful transition, a natural transition. And my friends at Tuscan are my mentors. That's where it all began. And it's been quite a run. But after trying my hand at teaching for the last 17 years, I've come to the conclusion that maybe teaching is just not the right fit for me anymore. If I had to summarize my career in education with one word, effective comes to mind. Not to be confused with partially effective or highly effective. And if you had to pick a number, on a good year, it might be like 3.6. But in all seriousness, one of the things that I really cherish about teaching in this district was it's got the most amazing diversity of people from all cultures, races, economic backgrounds. I couldn't imagine teaching anywhere else. It's just exciting to walk into the building every day. It's a recipe for never a dull moment. It has been very rewarding to be in a position to show our students how to see the world through a new lens and express themselves in new ways through photography, connecting it to the past, present, and the future. I was able to do it my way, uninhibited, intuitively from my professional experience. It wasn't easy because they think they know everything already. And the challenges have been daunting, but the reward is seeing them learn and unleash their creativity and knowing that I have influenced and even changed many young lives. Thank you for understanding how important the arts are in education and making this incredible opportunity possible for me and our students. It's been real.
You almost got it. 17 years, you're almost there.
Congratulations.
Thank
It's been
you so
real.
much.
I see what you did.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much.
Pull this guy out of there for you.
Anybody want to join? Please.
All right, congratulations again. Now we will have our academic supervisor for English Language Arts, Dr. Jane Bean Folks. Please join us.
Excuse my back, but I've been saying for weeks, is it really true? Donna, are you really going? But I have to really admit that when you look at what Donna Groman has done with us and for us, believe it or not, I had to write it down. It's 5 pages and 2 columns on each of those 5, kid you not, 5 pages that documents all that Donna does for us in this district. And so it's not easy to say goodbye to someone like Donna. Donna is leaving behind a legacy of excellence. She has changed the lives of each and every student, teacher, and administrator as a true change agent. I promise to you that your contributions that you have made to our district will never be forgotten and will forever be etched in our hearts. Donna, we're going to miss you dearly, but I know where you live. So as we are rejoicing that you will now be able to go on to that next phase of life, snuggling hopefully up to a good book with a glass of wine, and your grandbabies, we want to congratulate you on this long and prosperous career that you have had with the South Orange and Maplewood School District, and we wish you all the fun and the joy that you deserve. We love you, Donna.
I also didn't realize I would be speaking, so I'll try and make it brief too, Sue. Thank you to the board and everyone for the recognition. It really means a lot. I've been here for 25 years, and it really feels so strange to say that. And, you know, when I started, there weren't cell phones, and there weren't, well, there might have been computers, Keith and Ben, but not really, nothing in the classroom. And it was a very different way of teaching. And I think that, you know, I believe that the district really gave me an opportunity to learn all these new skills. Starting in the classroom in kindergarten and first and second grade, I had a real great opportunity to get to know kids and to get to know the parents too. I've worked with amazing children, amazing teachers, amazing principals and supervisors, and wonderful board members too, many have come and gone over all these years. And I do want to say that I think it's really changed me in so many ways. I've had the opportunity to learn so much about language arts and reading and writing, really hone my craft this way. I've held a multitude of titles in this district of reading specialist, literacy coach, instructional coach, teacher on special assignment, K-5 support teacher. I feel that I have worked with amazing teachers who have allowed me into their classrooms and have really encouraged me to really learn more and more and give more and more. And I thank my family for letting that happen. And I think my daughter is watching from wherever. So I really thank everybody. Thank you very much. I was like, I knew it was that one.
Hey, Keith, our next two are virtual, and I want to just double check if Ms. Davis was on virtual. Nettie Davis? No, okay. Before we move on, I just want to make sure that we say thank you to our HR team as well. A lot of Ms. Durant, Ms. Robinson, the whole HR team. A lot of times when I used to be a principal, I would talk to parents about those events that we had during this time of year and how you never think about the people who are making those papers and purchasing these things and calling everyone over and over and over again to get you confirmed to be here, right? And so thank you for your support, Ms. Durant and Ms. Robinson. Thank you. Our next presenter is our acting supervisor for special services, Ryan Varney.
Hi, everyone. I'm truly honored to be speaking on behalf of the Department of Special Services leadership team and those we work with. We wanted to share this opportunity and thank our retirees, Kathleen Baum, Renee Joyce, Susan Betcher, Lori Hirsch, and Ingrid Williams. You've all shown a myriad of attributes that include, but are definitely not limited to, flexibility, compassion, empathy, and collaboration with your colleagues and other key stakeholders that contributed to the success of our students. Your dedication to the profession, let alone this district, hasn't gone unnoticed. We appreciate you and the love you've shown for our students, families, peers, and to the district as a whole. To further spotlight and honor those celebrating with us today, we have a few words to share. Lori. Lori has been an extremely hard worker, is recognized as a leader amongst her peers, and has always been known as a go-to person to provide support and guidance in an area that she specialized in. She was truly committed to the growth and development of our students at large and is to be commended for a job well done in supporting our district, staff, and students. We wish all the best to Lori as she embarks on new adventures in her life journey. Ingrid. Ingrid has supported the Department of Special Services and has always done so with a smile. Her contributions have had a major impact and have been widely appreciated throughout the central office. Ingrid has always been willing to help wherever she could. Her commitment has been truly valued, and her hard work, has never gone unnoticed. We would like to wish Ingrid the very best as she opens a new chapter in her life's journey. Thank you again to those retiring. Good luck, and have fun turning the page to a new chapter in your book of life.
Thank you. Mr. Bonds, do we have Lori Hirsch on? All right, thank you. The floor is yours.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Speak a little bit louder.
Okay, you can hear me? Okay, thank you. I just want to say it's been an honor to work in the South Orange and Maplewood School District. I was a proud resident of South Orange for 22 years. My children are graduates of Columbia High School, and I'm really going to miss being a part of this vibrant community. I'm going to miss my colleagues, my students. It's just been such a wonderful experience. I'm leaving with such bittersweet feelings, but wonderful memories, and I will cherish my years in the district. It's really like no other, and it's just been a wonderful journey, so thank you all.
Mr. Bonds, do we have Ingrid Williams? Yes, thank you. Ms. Williams, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that I have enjoyed the time that I have spent being in help to the Department of Special Services, or the students that have been serviced, that I have helped to hopefully make their family lives and their lives better. And I appreciate all of my colleagues that I have worked with there in the Special Services Department. I would like to wish success and safety to everyone continue going forward. Thanks again.
Awesome, thank you so much. And those are the retirees that we had scheduled to participate this evening. If there are any other retirees who are either here or virtual who would like to be recognized, please take this moment to let us know so we can make sure that you have your well-deserved recognition. We'll just give a moment. You want to read these? Yep. All right, so our board president is going to now read the names of those who could not be in attendance.
Right, I believe Ms. Varney did some of these already, but I will make sure we capture everyone. So we would want to congratulate Sheila Bellini, Susan Betcher, Kathleen Bohm, Deborah DiLorenzo, Carla Dos Santos, Renee Joyce, George Moritzen, Renaud Pierre-Louis, and Veronica Simmons on their retirements from the South Orange Maplewood School District. Congratulations all.
Now, if you want to hang around and watch the rest of our board proceedings, you're welcome to do so. It's exciting, trust me, it's entertaining, you'll have a great time, or you can just go and enjoy yourself, and please take some.
I believe we will be brief, so you can hang around for a few minutes.
Congratulations again, and thank you to our leaders for coming. Great job, Mr. Rand, thank you.
All right. We are now at the time for hearings of individuals and, sorry. I should have done that first, but whatever, we'll be fine. Sorry. We're now at the time of hearings of individuals and delegates, known as public speaks. This is an opportunity for you to share concerns about an item on the agenda, but not time for dialogue with the board. Board requests state your name and town of residence for the record. We will set the time to 3 minutes for each speaker, so we ask that you respect that time limit. We must cut you off so it does not appear as if we are giving anyone an advantage to share their views over another individual. Speakers have the full protection of free speech during public speaks. However, this form does not protect you from the subject of free speech pursuing libel or slander charges. And finally, the board recommends that all members of our community follow the chain of command. Our first public speaks is from Fausia Sheikh. Okay, Fausia Sheikh is not on. That concludes our public speaks. All right, so where is, oops, I lost it. Yeah, so we're done, right? Okay, that concludes our public speaks. We now move on to new business. Anybody have any new business this evening? Board Member Whitletter.
Well, first, thank you so much for that event. It was beautiful, and congratulations again to the retirees. Collectively, 330 years, and I can only imagine if we could quantify the number of student lives that they all touched, it would be in the thousands. So I'm inspired, and I just want to say thank you to the district for making it happen. New business. Sorry, guys. I know this is becoming a recurring theme, but I wanted to talk to the board about an email that I had sent just so that we could have a conversation around the suspension moratorium. Because I personally don't think we have a strong handle on what was really learned this past year. about our restorative practices, what's worked, what hasn't worked. Obviously, with the moratorium, we're going to see a decrease in the number of suspensions, but still, Black students are being suspended at a disproportionately high rate. We also saw the Latinx community suspensions increase this year. And so part of the task force, the resolution was for the district to provide some recommendations or identify potentially some practices that may be influencing some of this. And so I would like us to consider as a board having a second conversation, engaging the task force as a whole to discuss this in further detail so we can understand where to go from here, because the moratorium on suspensions is sunsetting, and we don't know what that action plan looks like. How do we go from the resolution that was placed to, everyday life going forward from this? So I just wanted to get others' thoughts on that and have a conversation about if this is something that we could do.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Would you care to respond?
Thank you for that. As an administration, we are here to serve the board, and whatever the board's pleasure is moving forward for those conversations, we'll be happy to participate. A few updates since that presentation on the moratorium. We have held preparation meetings for our middle school surveys. The principals are sending out that information to all stakeholders, and we're excited. We've had further discussions and meetings, and we'll be bringing Dr. Bernardini from Rutgers to the next policy meeting to discuss the NJ Climate Survey platform pilot that we're in. I think that'll be a great time for us to continue those conversations. And of course, whatever the board's pleasure is, we are open and willing to participate and lead.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. Board Member Malsmina, and then Board Member Vadlamani, and then Board Member Wingfield.
I agree with Board Member Wingfield. Sorry, not Wingfield. Whitleather, sorry about that. I think that we need to have further discussion about this. We also need to have a better and more clear understanding of exactly how this is going to be implemented next year. I would like to actually go a little further than what Board Member Whitleather stated and ask that we include teachers and students in the conversation. And by students, I know we did have 2 students who helped with this discussion, but I would like to see a representative group of students that mirrors our school district. So I would like to see, 54% of the students that we'd speak to be white, 8% be Hispanic, 27% be Black and African American, 3.9% be Asian. And not only that, but I'd also like to see our students with disabilities have a say in this discussion too. So I really believe that we need to really hear from all participants and all stakeholders in this discussion, and not just a select few, which is what is happening.
Thank you. Before I ask Dr. Taylor to respond, I'd like to remind all of my board colleagues that our role is an oversight. And so when we start talking about the what, and when we start talking about how things should be done, we do risk stepping outside of our lane. And we should remember, as a reminder to all of us, that we're an oversight body. Dr. Taylor, would you care to respond? And then we'll go to Board Member Vadlamani and Wingfield.
Yeah, so my only response would be that the Climate and Culture Survey served that purpose, that hundreds upon hundreds of folks had their voices a part of that in the first round for Columbia High School, all 3 stakeholder groups, our students, our staff members, and our parents. So we can't forget that they did have an opportunity, and their voices are a part of the work moving forward, and we're going to increase that exponentially with the next round of surveys that we're planning now. So though the task force is there to have conversations and talk about reflections, and managing a task force from multiple schools during the school year. It would be impossible for us to have hundreds of people participate in that, but they had an opportunity to give us their voices, all three stakeholder groups, through the survey that we utilized.
Thank you. Board Member Vadlamani.
So I was looking for a clarification. So if the board, the resolution expires the end of this current school year. So if the board does not come up with a new policy or a new resolution, we will go back to what as it was before the resolution was passed, correct?
So some of the recommendations at the end of the work spoke about keeping some of the steps that we put in place as best practices, even if this sunsets. So some of those pieces, like the restorative justice piece, the updates on the website, and some of those pieces will definitely stay regardless of the direction that the board gives.
Okay, thanks. But sorry, final clarification is that then it would go back, it would no longer be coming all the way up to the superintendent for adjudication. It would be as it was before.
Yes, so I would still, of course, monitor, but there would be less restrictions than they were before. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Board Member Wakefield.
Yeah, I guess one of the things I would say is, certainly from my perspective, I'm not speaking on behalf of the board, but I never imagined that a single resolution in a 10-month period would in any way be a single solve for what is an incredibly, incredibly thorny and complicated issue that I think the district has been trying to grapple with and solve for some time. And certainly when we look at the disparity data with, although reduced for our Black students and increased for our Latinx students, I do think it's really important to name that a simple resolution or even a shift in policy is not going to solve what's really at the core of that data. And that isn't necessarily caused by the district or isn't necessarily caused by a set of people, but is rooted in long-standing, baked-in systemic racism that has existed in many districts' policies for decades. And so I want to name that because I think that there's a lot placed on this resolution and on this moratorium. And I think it's important to understand what it has unearthed and how it has surfaced really necessary and important conversations about why we suspend, do we need to suspend, and sort of putting a pause or a disruption in place where there wasn't necessarily one before. But I guess to your point, Caitlin, around us having ongoing conversations, I think that the timing on this is quite perfect because starting next month and the subsequent month, we're going to enter into goal writing and drafting as a board. And I think that as a board, if we want to see certain things continue, or as a board, if we would like to see further study or further sort of uncovering of what is occurring around this issue, I think that it needs to live in our board, or excuse me, in our district goals that we write in the coming months.
Thank you. Board Member Whitletter.
So in the resolution that was drafted last year and approved by the board, it states the task force will use the findings to suggest necessary adjustments and additions to strengthen our current approach to restorative practices. The superintendent will complete a report with the results of that assessment as well as recommendation to the board no later than March 31st. And I'm just saying this because I don't think as a board, going back to what Board President Joshua said in terms of operations, that we can make informed decisions if we don't know what's working and what's not working. So, you know, this task force was created to drive impact. It was something that there was a year given towards this to really do as much digging as possible to uncover, yes, this is a decades-long issue and we're not going to fix it in a year, but I don't know, and I don't think any of us can speak to what was evidence that maybe practices that are systemic in our approach or how this new moratorium on suspensions has it been helpful? What have teachers thought about it? What have students felt? Yes, suspensions have come down, but we never even saw a case study of a student who received restorative justice and how that improved their experience in the district. So all of these things, I think, would be worthy of a follow-up conversation to really dig in the weeds with the superintendent and this task force. I mean, this is something that I think all of us deem important, and it deserves more than, you know, a 10, 15-minute conversation that we had in the last board meeting.
Thank you for that. Board Member Malaspina. You're muted, Board Member Malaspina.
I just realized that. I agree with Board Member Whitletter. I feel like we have not gotten enough data, or we couldn't even answer the question as to like how many people did, you know, possibly would have been suspended and weren't. And you know, I would love to also see a case study or understand more. And we had no teacher voice in this. And I really believe we need to hear from them as to how this impacted them. They were supposed to be on the committee, their voice was supposed to be heard, and they were not. And so I really believe before we move forward with anything else that they have to be included in this discussion. And as for the other people, we have some data, but we did not get nearly enough data, and only from a small sampling of parents and students throughout this district as to really what was occurring. And I'd like to see us maybe push that climate survey and all of that out further to try to gather more people and really get more people to respond so we can have a better idea as to what was occurring, because the numbers were not great.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. You got to respond.
I think my previous response suffices. I would just remind everyone that the presentation that you saw was a presentation, obviously, but there's also a report that was offered that was more than 40 pages with lots of links and details there. We can always dig deeper, but there's always a balance of our capacity of effort, right? And so as we're pushing out further surveys to share more information, I don't think that information can be ignored. We're one of the few pilot districts on this new climate and culture platform, and it has some really rich data there that we shared and more that will be forthcoming. I don't think that there was a lack of information, but there can always be more information that we can provide at the direction of the board.
Thank you. So I'd just like to, since I don't see any hands, I'll wrap it with two things. One, a reminder once again that, as an oversight body, we are not supposed to be in the weeds. The weeds can be presented to us, but it's not our jobs to get into the weeds. And then secondly, just to reiterate what I heard from Board Member Wingfield, we do have goal setting season, if you will, coming up. We already have our retreats calendar. They'll be publicly noticed later, and those are opportunities between both those public retreats and our standing committees to have discussion. And with this particular issue, I believe the policy committee is probably best suited for it. But I will defer to Dr. Taylor and his team to figure out which committee this work should go. But again, we do have goal setting season coming up, and that's an opportunity for us as a board to decide how we want to move this forward as something that we consider important to us. Board Member Malaspina and then Board Member Whitletter.
I'll wait for her to go because I wanted to bring up another item, so let her go.
Board Member Whitletter.
So just to circle back up on my original request was to consider the board convening to have a deeper discussion about this with Dr. Taylor and members of the task force to really understand the results, potential recommendations, and how to proceed forward, which I think we would have to do that work in order to even think about addressing this in district goals, because what it feels like right now is that we had a task force that didn't deliver on what the intention was. And this resolution was drafted by members of this board. So I'm just asking if people are happy with the current result and are now at this point not open to having a second conversation, because I think this topic warrants it. And I just would like other board members to please weigh in and just.
I think what we've said is that the conversation can happen during retreats, but what I'm also would like to reiterate is that we cannot direct the task force to meet with us. The task force doesn't work for us. Dr. Taylor does, right? So the request to sit down and start interviewing, members of the district staff, that's outside of our realm, right? Our world is the person that's sitting in between the two of us, Dr. Taylor, right? So from that standpoint, I would say that request is a bit outside of our scope, but the idea of having conversations about how to move forward with understanding the root causes of suspensions is totally within scope via policy discussion that we can have in both policy committee, district goals, and potentially even board goals. Board member Mouse, well, let me come to board member Wright, who hasn't had an opportunity to weigh in yet.
Board member Wright.
Board member Wright.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. And I would like to say congratulations to all of our retirees, and probably a little late for that. But I think that we need to have maybe you all present to the board to see what's going on with this moratorium. We absolutely need to have discussion about it. I am concerned about a lot of things that are going on in terms of this moratorium. And so presenting to us would be a very good idea. Along with that, if things were going really, really well, we wouldn't be asking for assistance. And that's what we're here for, to make sure that the district is run well. This is something that bears a lot of conversation, especially in light of how it arose in the first place. So I am certainly on board with board member Winkler and what she has to say about this. And we should also have, as Ms. Malaspina said, everyone should be a part of this that it involves, and teachers in particular, along with students, and a well-representative group of them, along with parents. And thank you.
So thank you for that, board member Wright. So I think we've already had, I guess, multiple rounds of questions asking for additional information as a result of the report. So I guess I'm a little, this idea that we haven't discussed it seems a little bit off to me, because we did have a presentation as well as a report, and everyone had an opportunity to weigh in and ask questions. And I understand the desire to further it, because no one thinks that it was, one-shot deal, as board member Wingfield said. But I think we've already discussed there are ways to do that. And I guess we're looking for even more ways to do that. And I'm just, when I look at the calendar, when I look at, all the things we have upcoming, we do have upcoming meetings and, procedures in place for the board to make our intentions known to the superintendent. Let me come to board member Malspina, and then Valamani, and then Wakefield.
I just wanted to respond to Caitlin's question, so before you move on from this topic, but if other people need to still weigh in, that's fine.
I was going to
Wait, board member Wingfield, this is board member Malspina, and then you. Sorry about that. All right, thank you.
board member Wingfield go. She wants to say something.
All right, we'll come to board member Wingfield, and then are you good? Yeah, no, all right. Wingfield, and then Malspina. Board member Wingfield, go ahead.
I just wanted to respond to board member Whitletter's question, because it's a good question. And I think that as somebody who was on the board in the fall, I am satisfied by what the district presented, which I don't want to be confused, meaning that I'm satisfied with the outcomes. So I personally feel I have enough information, and also feel that the data that I'm collecting and processing and considering is obviously what was presented, but I also believe that in absence of data, is also communicating something. So I personally feel that I have enough information to be able to come together with my colleagues over the summer and to be able to hopefully work together to move on what we heard and what we didn't hear, to be able to take some, I think, really important next steps to continue progress in this area.
Thank you, Board Member Malspina.
So I'm going to respond to Board Member Wingfield's reply. I'm trying to understand, since you were the one who wrote the moratorium, that you feel like you have gotten enough information, especially since you wrote in there that teachers would be involved in it, and there were no teachers involved in that. So I'm not struggling to figure out how we can say we have gotten enough information. I don't think.
We lost you, Board
Because
Member
I don't
Malspina.
feel like.
Oh. All right, let me just jump in here. It doesn't matter who wrote it, who signed it. Wait, I'm sorry. It sounds like you. No, it looks like there's tech issues here, so I apologize if I'm cutting you off because you went in and out, and then you came back in, and then it was another pause. So I thought you were finished. Please go ahead. I apologize.
I was not finished. And what I was saying is that I have concerns about the fact that we have not heard all voices, which were included teachers. And as Ms. Wingfield, who wrote the resolution, made it clear that she wanted teachers' voices in. So I'm confused as to how we can get to the point and say that we have enough data and have enough information where there is a whole group of people left out of it.
Thank you for that. I'd just like to reiterate, it doesn't matter who wrote it, the board passed it, the board took an action, right? This sort of finger pointing and blaming each other is unbecoming for all 9 of us as board members. 6 of us were here at the time, 3 were not. Ms. Malspina, you had your chance, it is my turn. Thank you. Again, I just want to reiterate that this idea of finger pointing, you did this, you did that. We are the board, we passed it. It doesn't matter, as long as 5 of us voted yes, we did it. This idea that you can extract yourself and not take responsibility for something that the board did as some sort of outsider is appalling and ridiculous. We are all 9 board members. We operate as a unit. This isn't Congress where 9 people represent 9 different constituents. Our job, all 9 of us, is to serve the 68 to 7,000 students in the district, as well as the staff members and district administration, and hold them accountable to ensure that the school district runs well. It's not the finger pointing at each other because they did something they didn't like. Okay? Board Member Vadlamani.
So I agree with the premise that we should, as a board, we should not be part of the how. So to that end, I would like to look at the end of this result, when we incorporate the feedback, I would like to see a policy come out of it as opposed to a resolution. We have plenty of time between now and start of the school year to actually put out a real policy. So let's not put out a resolution which, though it may be right, but it seems like it is, causing friction. So let's work towards a policy over the next couple of months.
Thank you, and I believe that's been mentioned that, there's opportunity in the policy committee to work on ideas that we can set forward, and again, that can be through goal setting and policy committee meetings. I'd like to bring Ms. Board Member Bergen in, who hasn't had an opportunity to comment yet. Thanks.
Thank you. I hear a few board members saying that they believe the work of the task force isn't completed and we didn't get enough information out of the moratorium. So one idea I have is that we could extend the moratorium for another year and reconvene the task force to study this issue further.
No, that.
Board Member Malspina, please wait your turn. Appreciate it. Thank you. Board Member, go ahead, Board Member Bergen. I thought you were done.
I mean, that was, I expected that response, but my idea with the results of the task force was to take another look at the policy that goes along with the code of conduct and also build this into the district goals, because the district goals are really how the board works with the district to drive the direction that the district is going in. So that's really the next step that comes out of something like this in my mind.
Thank you, Board Member Bergen. Board Member Whitletter, and then Board Member Malspina.
So as Board President Joshua said, our responsibility as board members is to hold the district, the superintendent accountable. And this was a resolution that was a directive of the board. So I'm just reading what the request of the board was, and part of that is presenting recommendations. How can we as a board draft a policy without learning about these recommendations, right? It has not been evidenced. So that's why I think we need a second conversation. And the other reason why I think we need a second conversation and we need a broader discussion about our board practices is prior to the presentation for the suspension, the moratorium on suspensions, Board President Joshua asked us to submit questions via email. 15 questions were submitted. We were told that those questions would be questions that would obviously go to Dr. Taylor to help him in preparation. Sheer number of questions to get 15 shows that there were a lot of gaps in the information that was being presented. And as someone, you would take that information and use that in terms of your responses or how you're presenting things to give the board the information that they need. Well, in submitting those questions, I didn't realize that we were actually stifling any opportunity for us to discuss this presentation in the board meeting. We then were told we would receive those responses via email. They were very generic. And then during the board presentation, we were only afforded the opportunity to potentially ask two. And I personally felt like I couldn't ask the questions that I had already submitted, which were my main questions because I had already sent it. And so again, the practice of trying to stifle open conversation, now it feels like we need to have a second one because the first one didn't go far enough and the responses that we got didn't go far enough. And again, in terms of accountability, we don't know what the recommendations are.
Dr. Taylor, care to respond?
Yeah, so just the last page of the report has summary and next steps, and it goes into detail around an analysis of the information that was found, and also speaks about, again, next steps, which are the recommendations from this work. And that was also, I think, included in the last slide of the presentation that was given, and in the response to the questions that were received before. I presented a response to those questions, and I did not receive, I don't believe, any follow-ups to those responses.
Thank you. Board Member Malaspina.
No, I agree with Board Member Whitletter because we were told that they would be discussed in the presentation, and they weren't. And there were questions in there that, that weren't publicly addressed. And a lot of those are things that should be publicly discussed. And the questions were ones that the public has a right to know what the questions were and answered. And I was stifled from asking all my questions during the presentation by Board President Joshua. He limited the amount of questions that I could ask. So I never got a chance to ask all the questions during that time. And I have some things that I would like for us to have a discussion about, but was not able to do so. So I really believe we need to have these conversations, and there is nothing, nowhere did we say we want to redo the moratorium for another year. That shouldn't even be a thought. All we are asking, or I believe that Ms. Whitletter is asking, is for the ability to continue to have a conversation and to meet with all the people to get a better understanding of how we move forward in making policy or procedures related to this, or even setting district goals. We have to have research and understanding to be able to do that.
Thank you. Board Member Bergen.
I'm not in the room, so I don't know if we have council present who can weigh in on whether
Yes, we do.
appropriate for us to have a conversation with the task force as a board. Thank you.
The board's direct work is to determine what it wants the administration to do. The board adopted that resolution, which established the task force. That task force is administrator driven, I should say. It is not something that typically you would have board members interacting with a task force that is created for this type of purpose. It would be that the task force works together. The task force creates a report. The task force makes recommendations, and then those recommendations are presented to the board by the superintendent or other designee. You would not include as part of that typically having a meeting with the members of the task force.
Thank you. Before I come to Board Member Whitletter, I just have to address this comment that somehow conversation was stifled. Once again, using these charged words to create an atmosphere of division within the Board of Education. For one, my job as board president is to streamline the meetings, right? And one of the ways to do that is to get questions in advance. I got questions in advance. I gave them to Dr. Taylor. We got the questions Monday. I gave them to him Monday morning with the explicit direction that address the ones that you can tonight and the ones that you can't by Friday. That is what happened, okay? It's unfair to ask anyone to dig deep into details when we're within 12 hours of our meeting, all right? And I also want to reiterate that this isn't about the public. As I read at every meeting, this is a meeting in the public, not with the public. So enough grandstanding about what the public does have and does not have a right to know. We're here to do our jobs, and every time someone shows up here grandstanding about how they felt stifled or they didn't have an opportunity to be heard, they just create division and make this job harder than it needs to be. You, as we learned from trainings in NJSBA, you will get your say, but you may not get your way. And that sometimes just has to be enough. I recognize that sometimes if you don't get your way, you don't feel great about it. But that's what it is. If you voted against the resolution and turn around and say that it's now not enough, you know, I don't, that doesn't seem to be someone working in any sort of collaborative spirit or any sort of way forward about how we can actually make this happen. We've heard multiple times that there's opportunities to have this discussion in committee, in goal setting, and that doesn't seem to be enough. So I don't know how many more conversations you want to have, particularly when you're already home, but I don't see how that generates any sort of goodwill amongst your colleagues. Board Member Whitletter.
Ms. Butler, if the task force wasn't involved in the actual development or the sign-off of the report, is that an opportunity for us to just bring them in? We don't have, if we're not allowed to engage back and forth, to have them sort of provide some extra level of detail, because, you know, more information is needed.
In my recommendation, that would not be something that the board members would do with the task force. The task force is made up of staff members, community members. That is not something that board members should be doing. This is something that, by the language of the resolution, was delegated to the superintendent to take certain actions. And as part of that was this task force. It would not be something that the board would have a direct involvement in. That is my recommendation.
Thank you. Ms. Butler, may I ask a follow-up question? My understanding is that some of these conversations, when we start talking about individual students, right, we start risking confidentiality between students, student records. Is that something that we should be considering as a reason why the board should not be involved in these processes?
Certainly, confidentiality of student issues, staff issues, anything like that. There is no reason for board members to be involved in those type of scenarios unless there is something specific to that student or to that staff member that is before the board.
Thank you. Board Member Malsmina.
I would like to move on to, I feel like we need to move on, and especially after the accusations that you laid in on me on. I'm not going to respond to them, but I would like to move, I think, are we ready to move on to our next subject?
That
Or
would
are
be
we-
up to me. Thank you very much. Is there any other new business this evening?
Yes, I do have new business. I
I'm
would like
looking
to
around the
know,
room for, Board Member Mousemeter, please wait for your acknowledgement. I'm looking around the room first and also on the screen. Board Member Mousemeter, please go ahead.
oh, thank you. You're so kind. I would like to discuss when, I would like to get an understanding of when we will be having the Safety and Security Town Hall meeting that Dr. Taylor had mentioned was going to be occurring before the end of the school year. I have yet to see it, so I'm trying to get an understanding of when that will be happening.
Dr. Taylor, care to respond?
Sure, thank you. I think I noted in that statement, both publicly and also to the press who inquired about that would occur after our Director of Safety joined us. We were actually strategizing about the best time for that to happen as he's joining us July 1st, understanding that there are a lot of folks, a lot of families that travel during the summer, and so we're strategizing the best time to make sure that we have a way for everyone to participate who would like to. So we'll keep everyone posted on that.
Thank you. Any other new business this evening? Seeing none, I'll close the business and make the following motions. I'd like to make the following motions. The Board of Education will meet in special public session Thursday, June 9th at 6:30 p.m. in the District Meeting Room, 525 Academy Street in Maplewood, as well as using an online video conference platform, which will include hearings of individuals and delegates. Immediately following the public session, the Board of Education will move to executive session in person and using an online video conference platform to discuss the Chief School Administrator's evaluation. The Board of Education will meet in a special public session Monday, June 20th at 6:30 p.m. in the District Meeting Room at 525 Academy Street in Maplewood, as well as using an online video conference platform, which will include the hearings of individuals and delegates. Immediately following the public session, the Board of Education will move to executive session in person, as well as using the online video conference platform to discuss the Chief School Administrator's evaluation. The Board of Education will meet in closed session Monday, June 27th at 6 p.m. in the Superintendent's Office, 525 Academy Street in Maplewood, as well as using an online video conference platform to discuss personnel, legal issues, and other matters to be discussed at a later date, possibly negotiations. Immediately following the closed session, the Board of Education will meet in public session Monday, June 27th, 2022 at 7:30 in the District Meeting Room here, 525 Academy Street in Maplewood, as well as using the online video conference platform, which will include hearings of individual delegates. And for that meeting, action will be taken. Let me just go back to the others. For the Thursday, June 9th, and the Monday, June 20th, action may be taken. One more, the Board of Education will meet in a special public session Wednesday, June 29th at 6:30 p.m. in the District Meeting Room, 525 Academy Street, as well as the online video conference platform, which will include the hearings of individuals and delegates. Immediately following the public session, the Board of Education will move into an executive session in person, as well as using the online video conference platform to discuss the Chief School Administrator's evaluation. Action may be taken. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Board Member Siders. All in favor? That appears to be unanimous. Mr. Burnside, I'd now like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting Monday, June 6th at 9:01 p.m. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Board Member Siders. All in favor? That appears to be unanimous, Mr. Burnside. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. See you all Thursday.
You know what I'm saying?